It was years ago when this happened. I got a call about a break-in. When I got the location of the house, I heard screaming, and then the phone immediately disconnected. And so I inserted the location of the house. It was not too far away from my location, so I start to drive towards the house. And when I arrived, it was a normal looking house, but one of the windows were shattered. I get ready and start heading for the house. I yelled police before I entered the house. When I didn't get any response from it, I get my gun and flashlight ready, then entered the house. I tried to find the room that had the broken window, and after I looked in around 4 rooms, I found it. And when I did, I noticed blood all over this room. It was disgusting. I called for backup and was told that they would arrive shortly, and then I continued my search through the house. Then I noticed a light coming out of an open door. I slowly approach it and realize it's a basement door. I shine my flashlight down the stairs and the light was coming from there, so I began my way down the stairs. And when I did, I realized what the light was. They were candle lights, but that wasn't just it. There was a pentagram on the floor formed by blood, and there was a dead body in the middle of it. I suddenly got the feeling that I wasn't alone in that room. I shined my flashlight around the basement, and I noticed a guy, probably in his 20s, that looked to be hiding. I got my gun ready and yelled at the guy to come out, but he never moved an inch. Then, suddenly, I hear a loud slam. I turned to see the basement door closed. Then the guy ran towards me. I stopped him after a bunch of gunshots, which made him fall to the ground, and then I cuffed him. But I was still trapped down in the basement. But that didn't matter, because backup had arrived. I hear the familiar footsteps of police walking around the house, and I'm pretty sure whoever that was up there was caught. And then I call for them for help, and that I was trapped. And then I hear the basement door come falling down. After I got out of the basement, I was told scary news. While I was stuck in the basement, backup had investigated the house, and they found the victim of the break-in in a terrible mess. And I was right. They managed to catch the guy who locked me. Shortly, an ambulance arrived and took the victim away. Then I took the 2 guys away to the police station. Out of all the times I had as a police officer, that was one of the most memorable of them all. Me and my partner were patrolling a certain part of town. We never expected what was going to happen to us this day. My partner's name was Jed. We were just relaxing in the car as we waited for an emergency. We talked about our lives as the time passed, until we finally got an alert about an emergency. We were told that there was a call about a break-in around our area, so me and Jed jumped right to it. After around 10 minutes of driving, we arrived at the house. Me and Jed ran up to the porch and then banged on the door, shouting police. Then, a woman that looked to be in her late 30s opened the door. She ran out and told us that someone was in the house and was armed. So Jed took the woman towards the car while I went into the house. I kept my taser ready in case someone would jump out. It wasn't a very big house. There were only like 6 rooms in total. I went through most of them, expecting someone to be in one of them, but I was never able to find the intruder. But suddenly, Jed tried to get a hold of me. I got out my radio and asked what was wrong. Jed then told me to get out of the house and to help him. So I go outside to see the woman being cuffed by Jed, and then I saw 2 men in the car. I asked Jed what even happened, then he explained. When I went into the house, Jed tried to calm the lady down, but while he was doing so, she out of nowhere lunged at Jed. She then yelled at someone, and then 2 men come out of the bushes. Then both of them joined in and tried to pin Jed down, so he pulled out his taser and let it rip. After the 3 went down, Jed talked to the dispatch, and then realized what went wrong. The person who called the police was actually a young boy, which meant that we were helping the wrong people, and it also meant that the boy was still in the house. I run back into the house to look for him, and luckily I was able to locate the boy, but he had tape in his mouth and tied up. I helped him out of the mess and took him to safety. I requested backup to arrive, and when they did, they took the three away, while me and Jed took the boy to the police station to call his parents. Then I questioned the kid on what happened before we came. He said that when he was left home alone while his parents went to dinner, he was playing video games when he heard a knock at the front door. So he goes to answer it, but then he looked through the peephole. There was nobody there. Then suddenly, he heard a glass window shatter. Being scared, he ran into his parents' room and locked the door. Then he called the police, crying to the operator. But right when he hung up, he heard the door being kicked. Then the door gave in and broke. And that was when he saw the two men and captured him. And then they used the woman to act as bait for when we would arrive. It may have been the scariest threat me and Jed ever dealt with, but now it's just a horrible memory. I was doing night patrol on a cold fall day. I was told to watch over a dangerous town for the night. I was doing my laps around the town with nothing happening. Hours passed with me just waiting, until I noticed something. I saw lights coming from a market area. I drive into the parking lot and try to get a closer look, and it turned out there was a car with its lights on. It looked like a 2010 black Prius, but there was nobody inside the car. It was a little suspicious, but I didn't report it yet. I figured that whoever owned the car was probably out doing his business maybe. But I was wrong after I heard some kind of noise, like a trash can being knocked over. I got my flashlight out and started to navigate towards the sound. When I went towards the back of the market and found out I was right, there were two garbage cans knocked over with trash spilling, which meant that someone had to have been here. Then I looked out into the woods behind the trash cans. Whoever was back here must have gone back there. So I took my flashlight back out and continued my search. But as soon as I walked closer to the woods, I started to smell a bad odor. It couldn't have been from the garbage. It smelled like a rotting animal, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. All I could do was to keep on going, so I continued down the woods. The smell started to get stronger, so much to the point I had to hold my breath. I continued my walk until I stepped on something. It didn't feel like dirt or sand. No, it felt like something soft and squishy. I pointed my flashlight down to reveal me on top of a dead body. I watched in horror as I saw the dead carcass laying on the floor. Then I heard a car engine run, then tires screeching. It was coming from the back of the parking lot. I ran all the way back to the parking lot, and when I got there, the car was no longer there. Then I figured what was going on. Someone in this area got rid of evidence of murder, maybe, and when they saw me coming in, they tried to hurry up, and then most likely dumped the body right on the middle of the woods. But I was stupid, since I never got the license plate number. I radioed dispatch of the situation, then I told them to look out for suspicious black Prius, but I'm pretty sure the car was never found. The next day, I go back to the area with backup. We searched the woods in full daylight to find the body, and it wasn't long before someone had found it. When we all got a closer look at it, the body looked to be a boy, probably in his 20s. I'm not going to say what we did with the body, but we did manage to get some info out of it, and now I get scared whenever I have to do a night shift.